Degrees of waves and functions. Degrees of waves. As you already noticed in the previous two parts of this course, all the waves can be put into categories concerning degrees. Ralph Nelson Elliot discovered the presence of the 9 degrees of waves from the little ones on the H1 interval to the biggest one, which was possible to observe in these days having such data. And this I show Elliot established the names for the following degrees: grand supercycle, supercycle cycle, primary, intermediate, minor, small mini-cycle, and microcycle. Thanks to introducing such a naming system, Elliot was able to recognize precisely the place of certain wave in the overall market perspective. When we use the numbers and letters, Elliot advised to use the scheme of marketing the waves that you see below. But the current system of marketing is not as effective as before. Currently, we can define more degrees than Elliot had foreseen. For the purposes of these courses, I created the special marketing system. To be easier to mark the waves, I introduced to often use degrees of waves, the simple combinations. Rarely do analysts look at the millennial chart to make the transactions. Remember that every analyst can have different marketing systems. That is why it is not worth to discuss a point in the wider perspective, where the market is, with the help of the analyses of other analysts. You can add other aspects for the certain degrees to the system I created. The computer system, which is certainly the best tool to conduct the analyses, enables us to highlight the waves additionally with the help of the color or the kind of a font. I would omit such differentiations and leave it to you. Functions of the waves. The issue I would like to describe now I skipped discussing previously, the basic principles forming the waves. Each wave serves one of two functions: functions of actions or functions of contractions. To be more precise, each wave can go with the direction of the wave of the higher grade. In this case, it is the action wave, or going in the opposite direction as a correction wave of the main trend, the contraction wave. Action waves we mark with the odd numbers like 1, 3, and 5, and with the letters A, C, and sometimes E. The contraction waves are marked with even numbers like 2, 4, B, and sometimes D. Surely you are wondering why we need such a differentiation. Actually, the impulse wave has the same feature as the action wave. We would not need such a differentiation if all the action waves would be the impulse waves. As you remember, I already mentioned that. Most of them can be divided into the 5-wave structure, but as you will see in the next part of the course, some of the action waves form in a characteristic way as a corrective wave, so they can be divided into 3 or 4 kinds of schemes. In the next part of the course, you will understand why we introduced such a terminology.